Here we are. It's Leap of the Week. I'm Sarah. This is Alexandra Ellis of AE Wellness fame, and she wrote into me a while ago now, because I'm slowly making my way through all the questions, about a snapping psoas and what to do. So we're here. I snagged her because we were just at a workshop together. So I'm like, let's come make a little video. So tell me your question again.
Yes. So some of you might also experience this. I know when I do hip circles or hip circumduction, I often feel almost like a click or a snap in my hip repetitively, so every single time. So my question is, what is that? And what could you possibly do to maybe remedy it? Because for my case, I've worked on flexibility, I've worked on strength, and haven't quite found what that piece is yet.
Combo. Yeah. So there's a couple of things that I think you want to do to begin with. And you might have done this already, I think it sounds like, but the first thing you want to make sure is, in this case, we're sort of thinking this is Alex's psoas, but there's lots of other structures in and around your hip that can and do make noise. The hip flexor tendons, the other hip flexor muscles, the joint capsule, the ligaments, your IT band, and the greater trochanter, there's all sorts of things. And so Alex told me a little bit more backstory. We're sort of going on the assumption, and again, ground rule number one, we're not diagnosing anything for anybody with anything. But it does very much seem like this is related to her psoas. So as to make a decision about what to do, you know, the thing is it's a tough one because it's so deep to the rest of your body. And there are so many things in their day-to-day life that are sort of conspiring against it working well. And the number one thing, obviously, is a lot of sitting for a lot of us. There's stretches that you can do for the front of your hip to get more length in theory, although, you know, does static stretching actually lead to permanent length change? There's a lot of questions around it, what its value is, what it's actually doing. It may not be a stretchability issue, and I actually think for you it's probably not, because if you wouldn't mind standing up for a second and facing sideways so people can see your standing posture.
It's not all the time.
I know. But so when Alex is not paying attention, when she's paying attention, it's magical. When she's not paying attention, she likes to do the double whammy that a lot of people like to do, which is hyperextend the knee, and then because of that, the only way that she can then balance, because otherwise she'd just fall forward, she has to end up leaning backwards, and her hip comes way forward to do that. So she ends up making this kind of position. And if you visualize, if you take off all of her skin and her organs, and her guts and all that stuff, and you visualize what's going on under there, you can think about where the attachment of her psoas is on her spine and how it's then having to hook across all of this lengthened position in order to make its way back down to her leg. So I would say probably the things to be looking at and working on are finding more stabilizing strength in other tissues around it, so that it's not in this position of being overstretched. And so the way that I would work on that particularly would be with posture, like a lot of postural kind of correction. Actually, would you stand up again? Sometimes it's amazing how little you actually have to do. Because if I get Alex to relax her knees a little bit and to think about right in the front of her hip, instead of that go back to your, you can kind of feel it, that you're just hanging out on the front of your hip, right? And if she lets her knees relax a little bit and she lets this area get a little softer, everything lines up a lot more nicely. So, you know, sometimes it's just a matter of starting with something as simple as that. And then, you know, I would work on things like, because the other thing that happens in that position is you tend to lose some of your lower abdominal stability. So I would work on things like, can you organize your low belly and keep things stable as you move your legs, movement-wise? And then generally, you know, different people have different feelings about, should I, you know, continue to do the movement that has the noise in it, or should I stay out of the range of the noise? I'm kind of a fan of stay out of the range of the noise until you can get everything organized properly so that it doesn't make any noise anymore before you go back. That's kind of my feeling. So yeah, I would work on posture. I'd probably watch you walk, and I'd want to see what you're doing while you're walking, because you might be doing something really awesome, like John Travolta down the street moves, and also something funky might be going on there as well. Right? And then yeah, I would just sort of start to look into what does it look like when you try to hold your pelvis still and move your legs, and see how that goes. And so, that's longer than we have for this video, but sort of in that direction. That's where I would go. Okay. What does that sound like?
Sounds very good.
Yeah. Do you have more questions, comments, feelings?
Well, from the teacher perspective, because I know students will often ask, like, oh, it's making this noise, what should I do? So would you say in general the suggestion to stay out of the noise-making ranges?
Yeah, I mean, when you're in a situation where you're teaching a class and there's 30 people, you don't have time to go into like, well, let's analyze your gait and let me look at your, right? The demands are different. So as far as safety goes, yes, it's always going to be a safer choice to say stay out of the noise-making range, and then you say, there might be something going on that you might want to look at with me or with another professional person.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yay. Thank you, guys. Questions, thoughts, comments, feelings in the comments, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye. Bye.